Islam Morris. Yeah. Um, I stopped yesterday because almost had a moment. You know, shout out to Cujo for the brain pops. But I almost had a moment, man. Like it was too crazy. I went in there to read to try to show y'all how the European is giving it up for the prophet, even though he's trying to, talk down on him. And even in you talking down upon a prophet, you raise him past the level. We wasn't even trying to do it like how that was. Like he took it to another level. So we're gonna go back before the end of this video. We're gonna go back and jump into that Princess and the Prophet book where they give up. They basically he puts it all on the table. This whole Thomas Drew Ali game and shit like that. He shows you the guy. He shows you where he comes from and how he came up. He tries to use the guy and make up a story how the guy is the prophet's brother. That's basically the whole thing. But when you find out what this dude was doing and who he was involved with, you see that he was the one who was basically impersonating the prophet, acting like he knew how to heal, acting like he knew how to do magic, acting like he was a prophet. And then when he would get caught up by people or the police, he would, assume that Thomas Drew identity. So that's how that worked. Anyway, when we get back into that, that's what we're gonna do. I got all types of crazy stuff to talk about and videos that I'm about to do later. So I got the whole Zoom app and hooked that up through my computer. So we got to deal with our connection. You know what? The Moorish science of Bruce Lee. Or let's call it Double Dragon. The Moorish tales of Jun Fan. Let's call it that. Let's call it that. Y'all Moors don't even know what's about to happen. Wait till wait till I deal with this Bruce Lee. Moors, I'm telling y'all, man, this joint it's gonna be another one. It's gonna be another one where y'all see like, okay, there's a deeper understanding to this Moorish science. We're only looking at it from one perspective. We're not looking from the other side. We keep looking at it from one way. In other words, we keep looking at the Moorish paradigm from Eastern Northwestern Exum. So we look for the eastern portion of Northwestern Exum, right? We're looking at that as the center of the world, and then basically everything from there out, without just looking at the whole entire Americas as the center of the world. When you do it like that, like put it like this: if you want to go around the world and you're in the east, of course you go across the Atlantic. Well, how do you go around the world when you're in the west of Northwest Mexico? Because y'all don't. This land is ancient, but you're not understanding the context of the ancient. It's ancient and modern at the same time. This is the old new world. If that makes sense to you, this is the old new world. So it's both at the same time. You could prove that this is the farthest, most extreme west, and you could also prove that this is the farthest, most extreme east at the same time. But what I've seen is that we're not tying in like the whole other portion to this paradigm. We keep looking at the story the way Europeans told you that they came here over the Atlantic. But nobody's talking about the story of crossing the Pacific all the way till you get to Asia or Hong Kong. Nobody's talking about that. See, that's why we had to deal with Beikoku and Koi Bay yesterday, because y'all got to be straight, at least on what the land is called before we jump into Beijing. You know what I mean? Before we jump into that, you got to know a little bit about the whole thing. Beijing is a foreigner. Beijing is what they say is one of their capital what was that? Is that a city? Capital cities in like China. So Beijing, where Tiananmen Square is. Why is it called Beijing? Like the foreign bays. Y'all don't know not. Watch when I show y'all this crap. Yo, like it go deeper than just Bruce Lee himself. Well, it's hard to outdo Bruce because when I break down who this man was, bro, y'all really it's gonna throw y'all head for a loop. Have your turbans and fezzes on so they don't go nowhere. You know what I mean? But it's gonna spin you for a loop. Now, that's later. What is going on with the 7-6-4? Okay, 7 Hawk, 6 Hawk, 5 Hawk, 4 Hawk, 3 Hawk, 2 Hawk. I got to do it like that because people like to, oh, you used my name. What's going on with this 3-2-1 Hawk? There's some digit number of Hawk, numeral Hawk guy that then got caught up. He got caught up because it's funny. With about a year ago, the same plethora Hawk, plethora Hawk was doing videos about Moors, about a year ago, saying, and he was in some weird basement that looked like it needed to be finished. He was in a basement with no panels on on the walls. He was down there. Moors, you can't be Moors. We have to go into our tribes, and federations recognize the tribes, but they don't recognize Moors. There's nowhere he talked. That's the guy. You know who I'm talking about? Randy Watson. Randy Watson. Let's get it. I gave him a name correction after he got exposed by the other Moors, the rising Moors. You know what I mean? Shout out Islam, but they exposed him, right? And Grand Sheik had to go and double expose him so we could make it known. This guy works. He's an appointed agent for the goddamn Rhode Island people. You are a government agent, buddy, and you're running around here acting like Tomahawk 2 Hawk stuff. Hey, ain't no bloodline and no paper talking about a commercial entity called Randy Watson. Now I watched the damn show, a good story called Coming to America. Mr. Randy Watson. You need to watch that over again and just skip to the scene about sexual chocolate so you can see how they put you on blast. Can't sing too good, but the old heads like you. Okay? Because that's you. You're the one that want to run around to the colleges and give little speeches and university speeches about who with the tribal and federal this, but you don't talk about bloodline. You don't talk about human rights. You don't talk about the Moorish paradigm. You don't speak about how Moors used to be called. Well, Moors were Moors, and then they got the term Indian placed upon them. You don't talk about Title 29, Delaware Codes. Chapter 1, Section 104, Line 4. You don't talk about that. Or Section 106, Line 4, whatever. You don't talk about that. That's dealing with the jurisdiction and sovereignty of the land of the Lenapes, the Narragansetts. And you don't talk about that. Why not? It says something in there about what the tribe used to be called, formerly known as. We already know. Moors know. Formerly known as the Moors. But when you put that document with Resolution 75 from Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania House Resolution, or the House of Representatives, they made a resolution in April 17, 1933. That's a perfect date, Moors. What was going on? They was trying to tear up a nation. And then in 33, they recognized the Moors to be American citizens and members of a society outside of their own. Okay? But able to be dealt with, or it was kind of like a nod to the peace and friendship that's still around. It was a nod to 1790 Sundry Free Moors. Like, yeah, we know y'all Moors here. We know y'all use the L's, Bays, and Ali's and stuff. We're tearing up everybody else. You don't get yourself involved. Go read the 75 from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Resolution 75, April 17, 1933. Go read that so you can see how it's talking about our people, and how we kind of lost our way from who we were and had to get told again after they crashed the nation. Oh yeah, guys, y'all the Moors. They crashed the nation, remember? Great Depression. So that's funny, because the last time America was great was in the Depression. It was actually called the Great Depression. So last time America was great was in the Great Depression. And during the Great Depression, all the Moors were rising in finance, rising in economics, because everybody else was out to lunch, dealing with the what do you call it, the reconstruction periods and all this stuff, and then the migration periods of the ones who were trying to reconstruct a history that was already vast and luxurious, coming over here through the world fairs and explosions, one being the Chicago World Fair of 1893. They were coming through the world fair, seeing that it was grandeurs over here, so we would set up like we would go to, let's say, New York City. We would go to Times Square, and then we would decorate Times Square as old Morocco, like have everything looking like old Morocco. Name some of, like, rename the buildings and all that. Just have all decorators doing this. Now, when the Europeans would come to that New York or whatever to have the little celebration explosion of the World Fair, right? Imagine the people who live there, the Moors, to greet the people and bring them in, they have festivals and dress up in pageantries. So they take their old garbs. Idiot, what is this guy doing? Hey, driving like an idiot. Come on, pal. You don't need to. What are you doing? Hit the brakes. Anyway, so the Moors would dress up in their pageantry and in like their old garbs, but like embellish it crazy. So like you see them in turbans and headdresses, like the headdresses from the so-called Comitian period, the cobra headdress. That's what it is. They cover their dreads with the cobra headdress, where it actually looks like the cobra hood. So they were dressed in that. They would run, what else they have on? They run around in the Bedouin outfits, looking like Saracens, with the white headdress with the two black cords around it. I like calling it a jalabin, but I don't think it's the same. I don't think that's what it is. But anyway, you see old Morocco, and when you came here and people running around, why they don't talk about that? Why they never talk about that this was known as Morocco back then? Matter of fact, this is how you can prove it, that they can't hide it from you. Go look at the buildings of the explosions, and if you live in one of the neighborhoods that had an explosion in it, please research it. Please. I live in Philly. Well, so-called. I live in my body, but I domicile near Philadelphia, Pennsylvania territory. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania company. I domicile near there. So when I'm perusing near there, in that territory, around that territory, there is something called Fairmount Park. Fair, beautiful. Fair, just. Mount, point, principle, head. Fairmount. This is a Fairmount. Toronto is a Fairmount. And Philadelphia has a Fairmount in it from Shaker Mexon days. From back when it was Shaker Mexon, well, still Shaker Mexon, but back when we known it as Shaker Mexon in Susquehanna, there's a Fairmount there where we had meetings with people at the likes of the apprentice Penn. He was in servitude. He was in indentured servitude. When we released him from the servitude that he was in, he took his garrison down to Pennsylvania ports and met Tanneman. Tanneman signed a treaty with him when he wasn't supposed to. That was outside of the deal. You ever notice why that treaty is never spoken about and they buried it under the dirt? And then they took Tanneman and made him a saint. Why? Because it was partial sellout to the empire. We're not going to deal with it. We're not going to slap up Tanneman too much. But he sold out, and his selling out led the Europeans to make that man a saint. You can go look up Tammany Hall. They call themselves the Sons of Tanneman. These Europeans, the ones that wear the Liberty cap. Old Europeans that wear the Liberty cap that look like this, but it's a cap. That's their the Muslim sons basically of old. They're not supposed to be practicing no Christianity. So why would they saint the man? Well, Secret Treaty of Verona. They sold out. They went back to the damn Catholic, the Catholic Vatican. Well, you see how that subjugates a nation, because it's still up here doing this thing with y'all children. They ain't stopping yet. We've been out of the church or the Rome, because we switched the letters around. We more. So y'all gotta understand how this game is working. So, after these explosions, these people learned our lands, our nations, our what we call the places. And then you start noticing weird little events pop off. Also, wait, before we deal with the explosions, because that's the explosions are a part of a subjugation. That's part and parcel of a subjugation. And you say parcel because we're dealing with land, tracts of land. So it all goes into, of course, the Spanish Inquisition. But we can pinpoint the date of this going AWOL to the Louisiana Purchase. You can't purchase no land. La Louisiana went all the way from Mexico, which is today Texaco, aka Texaco. They call it Texas. That's Mexico. That's a region in Mexico called Texaco, where they had, you already know what they had, mosques and all types of stuff. They left it standing for y'all. Allah's Mosque, Alamo, the Allah Mosque, the Mosque of Allah, the House of Allah. That's what that place is called, the Alamo. That ain't no fort. That's a mosque. Alamo. The mother of Allah, Alamo. We're going to deal with Mo too, because Mo goes all the way into what do you call it? Kanji language, which is Asian. You ever heard of Lung Mo? Whoa! Y'all ain't heard of Lung Mo. What about Long Mu? Huh? What about Fat Mo? That's a moon deity over there in Asia. Over there with your brothers over there in Hong Kong. You ain't know about that, did you? Long Mo? Did you know about Long Mo was the moon deity? Like the prevalent one? The one that deals with controlling of weather and controlling of dragon energy? Weather control, water control. So storms can happen. Earthquakes can happen. Dragon energy. Who else has dragon energy when it comes to our homeland? Mama Pasha. Mama Pasha or Pasha Mama. Either way, it works. That's in Mesoamerica. Ooh. Ain't nobody know about Pasha Mama. How come ain't nobody talk about the Pasha being over here? Y'all want to talk about Pasha being Ottoman. What about Pasha being Incan? Got him again. Y'all gonna fall down this long hill wake-up session. And I'm gonna give you what you need. So we could deal with Pachamama. Know that Pachamama has a twin sister named Long Mo. And she went over there to Hong Kong, Morris. She traveled to Hong Kong through the waters. Understand that these are mythos of how the mothers were split and went around the world. You know about the seven sister Sibyls of the Pleiades from the Taurus constellation? Creation. That's what Genesis is about. The book of Genesis is about Taurus and a woman creating. That ain't no man talking, let there be light. That's a woman creating light and creating a world and a realm. As above, so below. It's showing you how Nu creates at the same time that Nut creates. Nut is new, but Nut is the lower self or the earthly nature, the physical nature. Nu is unseen, the force behind what we see, the force behind stars. What is Ra? If we break it down to the science, Ra becomes feminine. What do I mean by that? Ra is not the sun. It's not that. Ra is the energy behind the sun. European tried to show you right in front of your face. Periodic table, number 88. Ra is Ra, short for radium. That's what Ra is. Radium, radiation. That sun is electric, boy. Ain't no heat. That's electric. You think you feeling the heat because your body has heat, and your body has a heat conductor called a hemoglobin, and it's connected to the middle of the earth. You reverberate with it. Your sun, when your heart is beating, it's in between the heartbeat of the earth and the blood of the earth, which is the oil. We got the melanin. So when the heart of the earth beats, biorhythm, boom, boom. That's how it is. But your heart is in between those biorhythms, so it's a boom, 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 boom. It's like a long ass beat of just harmony, bro. So that's what I'm saying. You connected to this earth, aka Geb. That's your dad. You connected to the sky, Newt. That's your mummy. That's mother. See, higher self, lower self. It becomes the earth and the skies when you stop playing. But to stop playing, you got to get out your body. How do you do that? You got to get out of Osiris. You got to get out of Osiris by using your sun or the Horus energy of awakening, and to get out of your own darkness, the darkness of the soul, the darkness of the night. These are rituals that are done in our culture where you got to go into the woods and survive, homie. Come outside after that. Come out the woods after that. We're going to meet you. If you are built and supposed to be here, then you're going to survive the night. If you don't, we're going to see you half eaten by a damn bear, half mauled by a wolf. He wasn't ready to protect the whole nation. He wasn't ready to protect his mother. She'll have another son or adopt somebody that's a worthy warrior. Because we all same bloodline. What's an adoption? Back to the Prophet Muhammad Jones. We all same bloodline. Y'all got to study. I be throwing stuff out there for y'all to go look at. And I be noticing by, when we deal with chats and stuff like that, if y'all study, because the ignorance of what y'all be saying. That's the crazy part. Hold up. Now we're going to deal with this. Oh, yeah, Morris. I got to have the books. The troubling persistence of an unscientific idea, the myth of race, Robert Wald Sussman. See, Morris? Y'all all the same. Y'all all the same. Brown, 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 blue, blonde, dark, 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 dark. So what we're dealing with is that when he's talking about features and separation, he separated himself from the original family, right? But because you can find blue eyes in a Dravidian, you can find blonde hair in an Australoid. He calls them Australoid and whatever, but they're called the Maori. The people of New Zealand or Old Zealand, the Maori. And do know New Zealand is part of America and Australia is part of America. Do know that. Please, man, I gotta look that up. I gotta look up. Oh yeah, matter of fact, remember when we was dealing with the European what did I say? Type in when they look at European diaspora, and instead of showing you a diaspora of slaves, they show you the migration. They show you the migration instead of showing you the diaspora. So what is that? It's because they're hiding their slavery from you. They're not going to admit ever to you that they were slaves because they're never going to go back to that. Over their dead bodies. They're not going to tell you that. So what they do is hide it in the words. So anyway, you look up that diaspora of, what is it called? European diaspora. And what's going to pop up on Google is European migration. You look that up, and it's going to show you that all the Europeans was coming over here from the 1700s to like basically now, and it's going to show you 60 to 65 million people over those years coming here. Well, from the 1500s to the 1700s, 60 to 65 million. Ain't that the same number that they said slaves came from Africa? Got him. So when you look this thing up, it's going to show you the areas that they went to when they left or when they were migrating over here. And it says all the Americas, and it includes New Zealand in America. So based off of Europeans migrating from whatever region they came from, because nobody knows. Nobody knows where they came from. This is crazy. I say y'all come from my mother. I'm not doing it. I say y'all come from my mother. Everybody else saying y'all don't come from nowhere. They saying y'all don't come from the caves now. Now they saying y'all don't come from Europe. Now they saying y'all don't come from nowhere. Nope. Y'all come from my mother. I honor y'all as my mother's children. Not no darn monkey Neanderthal, none of that. Europeans come from my mother. One of my ancient mothers from back in the day. That's how it goes. Why are they pale? Because gene variants happen. SLC 24A5, we dealt with that already. Get it through the thickness, right? So when you deal with, that whole thing, you see that there's a connection between all the lands that they went to by the people. When you study the lands that they went to, study the people, study the ancient traditions, it all goes back to this and this in book work. People that was learned and knowledgeable, that was civilizing the worlds, and they all look like me. Different versions of me. You might have the ones with the eyes, but it's still me. You might have the one that's got the same features, but it's a little lighter. Still me. Play this game. He might even have blonde hair. Still me. Blue eyes. Still me. Why? Because it's one bloodline. You don't break from that bloodline talking about some man genes. There's no such thing. You're just varying over mixtures of periods of time. And where did them genes come from in the first place? The mother. So ain't no such thing as a man. There you go, right there. Where you start off as the womb. All the eggs is female first. So is a man a bastardization? Is a man a falsehood? Noble Drew Ali said, man is truth and falsehood mixed strangely. What is he talking about? Did he know what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's the prophet. Come on now. You are a woman that denigrated, and nobody wants to admit it. They'll let y'all go gay before they admit that y'all fell from women. A man is a fallen woman. God's a man. God's a masculine principle, so understand that he fell from his feminine glory. Demiurge. What was it? Yeldenbrough. Y'all worship this. All right. So, yeah. Back to this. So we got with Randy Watson. We got with him. Oh, Oprah fell. We didn't deal with that. Let's deal with that real quick. Oprah fell 2/29/2020, and then when you deal with the date, it was 8. When you add it up, it was 17. 7 plus 1 is 8. The funny part about it is then that date, it was 2222, and then the rest of the numbers. 4 2s equals 8, but wasn't 2 his daughter's number? They tripped Oprah. So that's how that worked. In LA, the numbers add up right. The purple and color on the background when she fell, talking about balance. When she fell, she hit the ground, talking about some shoes. Well, guess what happens next month with shoes? Kobe Bryant shoes dropping. They drop on the March 26th, which is 2 plus 6 is 8. So we got an 8 connection. We got an 8-2 connection with this lady. Oh, she fell at the 17th second. 1 plus 7 is 8. That needed to happen. That was from the cosmos, guys. So just know that stuff, if you've been dealing with, like I told y'all, dealing with the Kobe energies, pulling him and working with the 8s, and what was his ritual he gave me? He said act like a straight act like children. Because when I conjured him, he said go Moore's, matter of fact, I got it. This for y'all too. Go watch when he watched the Eagles win the Super Bowl. Watch his reaction to the Eagles watching the Super Bowl, and that's how he would have reacted to Oprah falling. I swear. More, when you watch it, you're gonna crack up. It's for you. This is ritual. This is straight. Y'all want Kobe? Okay. Well, Kobe told me to tell y'all go watch when his reaction to winning the Super Bowl. I mean, to the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. Eagles dealing with Shaker Maxson, the Capitol. Yeah, I mean, the place where they honored the use of the names. I mean, we dealt with that 75. Go watch that joint. Please watch that joint. And you're gonna see Kobe's reaction to Oprah falling through his reaction to the Eagles winning. Okay. So oh yeah, we got everybody out of here. Oprah's done. Cool. Oh yeah, there was a video on Sinetta like a couple days ago where it's a more on there that I like. I like this more. Where he's on there talking so weird, like he's saying stuff that don't make sense. I mean, yeah, I get it. You're trying to speak in the same. You're trying to make connection or conversation or a bond between you, Roy Bay, and Sinetta. I get it. You're trying to make it, but more. We can't do that though. We can't even do that. We can't be not as Moors. Those specific men do certain things that hold back our paradigm. Hating on Moors, only using them to talk about when people want to debate Moors. It's no debate. Ain't no debate. These people, y'all never brought the prophet up. Y'all sat there and talked for like a whole 2 hours and never said nothing about the prophet. Why not? How come we can't bring the prophet up? Moors don't ever sit there and talk where you don't bring the prophet up. You know what this man did? How could you talk about Moors and talk about pheasants, anything more, if the man who brought that shit here ain't being talked about? You ruining the whole ritual. Talk about black and mixing black in there with it when somebody told you can't be that? Oh, well, whoa, wait a minute. You can't go in there talking against what the man brought you and then act like that he never came. That's being dirty, bro. That's denying your mother and father. But somebody said don't do that because your days would be long on the earth plane. Your mother and father was never no slaves. So what you mean 400 years of what? Your mom and dad wasn't no slaves. Ever. Ever. If you were more, that never happened. You want to know why? Here you go. And they're going to show you, even with the color of it. Even with the color of it, they're going to show you the truth. Watch. Right? Nature knows no color line. You know what happened in this, Moors? You know what happened in this? That mother right there was thinking the way he thinking. Rebecca? Oh, yeah. She was thinking the way he thinking right now. You see how she all jeweled up in that English dress? Of course, English is still Moorish, but still, it's not connecting to this part of the empire. She looking like she Eastern with all that on. Huh? Because they made her Christian, yo. They took her from her land, made her Christian. I believe this is the story of Pocahontas. No, this is the nature of the mix. I'm thinking about they call her Rebecca. But still, I'm going to show y'all in this how they give you, oh man, Aryans in India. The Aryans of India, says the Encyclopedia of Religion and Ethics, prided themselves on their fairer skins more than aquiline features, and held in diversion the black color and flatter physiognomies, whatever. Physiognomies, who knows, of the Aborigines, regarded them as much. Conquering whites regarded blacks in Africa. See, this is them trying to subjugate the skin tone. They go and them do a research. They see all dark skinned people there. Then they like, ooh, well, I don't look like that. So then they whitewash all the people in the story and then put out other stuff that's whitewashed. The Aryans of India from the encyclopedia. So I want to go to a part that I brought up the other day, but I just wanted y'all to see it because, and it's funny because it's from a movie that we watch and hold into regards of being, I don't know, everybody always used this movie as a way to disprove Moors. It is funny because when I found this, I'm like, well, how come they never mentioned this part? But the movie is The Black Knight, and they always go to the movie and be like, oh, well, look at Martin. Look at Martin's his whole attitude to Moors. Look at how they're calling him a Moor. That's how they was treating Moors. Well, let's deal with this. In The Chanson of Roland, written soon after they invaded France in 1718 AD, so you know what time it is, they are described in verses 145 and 146 as blacker than ink, with large noses and ears, and with nothing white except the teeth. They are 50,000 strong and led by the Marganese, emperor of Ethiopia and Carthage. Remember, guys, that guy, the emperor of Ethiopia and Carthage, he would have been looked at as a Berber or a Phoenician back then because of who was ruling those areas at the time. Their most valiant figure is Abismi, right? That is Abyssinian, who, verse 126, is described as black as melted pitch. In this epic, the Moors are called Saracens, a term which is also used for Negroes. See how that works? Saracen, Negro, is a term that bastardizes Moor. So watch this. Again, in the romance of Morian, one of King Arthur's legends, Sir Morian, that is Moor, is described as all black. His head and his body and his hands were all black, saving only his teeth. Moors are black as burnt brands. But in all that men would praise in a knight, he was fair, after his kind. Though he were black, though he were black, what was he the worse? Though he were black, what was he the worse? Oh, okay. In him was not unsightingly. In him, not unsightingly, he was taller than half of a foot than any knight who stood beside him. Also, his teeth were white as chalk, otherwise he altogether black. Again, Morian, blacker than any son of man whom Christian had ever beheld. One of the knights of King Arthur, who was mentioned as black as Sir Palamedes, who was a Moorish Saracen, or Saracen. Morian and Palamedes, Palamedes represent Moors who were converted to Christianity and joined the fight against Islam. See how that works, Moors? So when y'all talk about this Black Knight Martin, well, guess what? Why he would say, "Oh man, I'm getting tired of this. I'm tired of this being more stuff," because they were trying to get him to ride with the damn Christians, and well, it worked, didn't it? So today, y'all still sitting up there with that damn movie, acting like that's worth something. In the movie, they show you the dude sell out. They show you that he trying to be a better fighter for the Christian King Arthur. That nailed it. That nailed it right there. He was trying to ride the fight against the Moors. So yeah. So let me just get back to where I was at yesterday, because it got kind of crazy. And I think the chapter was called Moorish Science of All Things. Muslim Masons, no. Yeah, but see how crazy it goes.
This guy is crazy. I don't ask you for money for my son. It's nothing. Somebody you hate me.
Oh, well. You could only hate if you got some hate inside yourself. How you hate people. Oh, hold on.